يلا يلا. You done? بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين وصلوات الله وسلامه على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا وأنت تجعل الحزن إذا شئت سهلا. اللهم أعنا على ذكرك وشكرك وحسن عبادتك يا رب الكريم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Right, folks. Any news? Any dozen? Nothing? What an attack on Nadif. Not even 3 seconds and he attacked him. You missed the attack on Nadif because the new news is that Nadif is here. What's going on, Lala? If Shahzada is attacking you, and you see the problem, he said it really quietly, and then when I cuss him, everybody goes, we feel so sorry. Feel so sorry for Shahzada, he gets bullied all the time. The fish. He's the world's biggest bully. I got some news. You want to hear some good news? I don't know, man. Baji May is resigning, Magar. You know what the curse of this dunya is? Is that we start to develop a soft spot for our enemies, Lala. Honestly, man is weak, yara. I feel sorry for the miskina, yara Baji. I detest that woman, that like to the next level. But now I'm feeling bad, yara. I'm starting to hate at Rees-Mogg even more. Michael Gavey will go even more. Boris Johnson even more. And I like Baji May out of all of them. That's the problem, man. We're weak. Anyway. My Netazi was that the chief... No, I can't say that. Maybe that's private news, that's why. But the chief's not here today. He's going to be back next week. Chief's on a mission at the moment. I just want to let you know that he's safe and sound. Did you know that? Yes. Okay, khalas then, yeah. He got into Aqsa today. So yeah, he's there with a few people on a few scouting missions, and they hooked him up for 2.5 hours, which is pretty much the same as last time. And yeah, things look good. Things look good for people trying to get in, which is a positive. No one got refused, no one whatever. So yeah, that's the Netazi. I spoke to him today. He's doing all right. Right, okay. Any news on here? There's something wrong with the colour. Sheikh's grey top is pink. You want to slow down, bro? Ras. Ayaz, you want to definitely slow down. What colour is this?
Pink.
Salmon. Did you say salmon? See that? A refined banda. Refined banda. Salmon.
Salmon's a fish.
It's a colour. It's a colour. You know what? From today, it's a colour. As soon as I heard it, I said, that's a colour. Never heard it before in my life as a colour, but you know what? It works. I take that. I take salmon as a colour. Alright? Right. Right, what's going on? Where are we, man? What are you guys wasting time for? We are... Yeah, I seem to remember that the last thing that I said... Actually, let's read some Arabic. Yeah, come on. So, he says in the Arabic, وَيُشِرْ... No. وَيَقُولُ التَّحِيَّاتُ لِلَّهِ وَيَقُولُ التَّحِيَّاتُ لِلَّهِ وَالصَّلَوَاتُ وَالطَّيِّبَاتُ السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله هذا التشهد الأول. Translation is that he then says التحيات لله. Don't be dreaming, bro. Yeah. You're dreaming. You can go right back up. And then he says التحيات لله. What did we translate that last week as? We didn't agree, did we? You know what, I was reading Sheikh Muhammad Mukhtar Shanqiti said. He goes, is الدوام. لا, what did he say? Yeah. الدوام والبقاء لله عز وجل. Which translates as basically, I don't even know how to translate that. The continuity and I got no idea how to translate that. Ad-dawam means continuity. Baqa means to remain, to stay behind, to remain, to continue. Baqa. You know, we say that's the baqi. That's what's left. Yep. It's for Allah Azza wa Jal. You know where he's getting that from? He's getting that from the same from the tahiyyah, from life. And when you say to the king, long live the king, at-tahiyyat to you, to the king. And you remember all that a blurb that Solange posted last week that spoke about how it was used classically for kings. So that's where it's coming from. So when you say at-tahiyyat or tahiyyah to the king, effectively what you're wishing is long live the king, isn't it? That's what you say, long live the king. It's a big cheer and a big kind of praise, isn't it? So it's long live Allah-ish in a way which is befitting to him, subhanahu. So that's why they translated it as like a dawam, continuity, and baqa, and remaining belongs to Allah. It's probably accurate, but don't sound great. We need to agree on something because honestly, you know what? We gotta take this off the screen. That's the only thing they look at, yeah, is these flipping comments. Yeah, put a video on maximum or something. Right, here we go. Let's go something real here. If it was because of Bangladesh independence, they would have painted myself red of blood. That's what I would have done. Shot in the head. Bangladesh, or the red spot. I can't think many reds. Not flipping salmon. Right. Eternity, perpetuity, endlessness. Endlessness. That's nice, isn't it? Endlessness. That's a nice word. And dominion belong. Everlasting. But what would you put? How is it? What's the noun of everlasting?
It's gisted, right? So you can't phrase it in the way that Arabic. But if you're translating the sentence,
yeah,
you would say God everlasting. God is everlasting.
Right. So what are we saying then for tahiyyat? Then I need to write this down because I'm delaying my translation. Huh? Mesa, what did we write down last time? Mesa, what was it last week? You gotta pass me one of these pens. What did we write last week? Endless existence. That was what we said last week, yeah? Huh?
Endless existence and dominion belongs to Allah.
All majesty and glory is exclusive to Allah. Was also one of them.
So, all majesty and glory, yeah,
Is exclusive to Allah.
is exclusive. Okay, alright. Alright, so that's one. Then,
Endless existence and dominion belongs to Allah.
endless. This was last week.
Yes.
Oh. So we did then we did mention it then. Endless existence
And dominion belongs to Allah.
and dominion belongs to Allah. The only problem with that particular statement, or actually both of them, is they don't sound like a praise. They sound like a fact. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know what's interesting? We're going to discuss this today. The tashahhud al-awwal and the tashahhud al-thani, the first tashahhud and second tashahhud, which you're going to realize today is what I've just recited, Abuduhu wa Rasuluhu is the end point, is not actually meant to be a dua, even though there are a few du'as in there. It's mostly meant to be statements of fact, praising, and so on. And the second tashahhud is all dua. Obviously, Durood Sharif, Salat Ibrahimiyya is Allahumma salli ala Muhammad, you know, like this, all the way to the end, plus anything that you add on from yourself. This is all dua. So, the tashahhud al-awwal is literally you witnessing, making the shahada, and praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know what I'm trying to say? So, I'm not really, and it's not meant to be opened up so much that you introduce your own dua. That you kind of, you go freestyle in it, like you do in the sajda and like you do at the end of salah. This is a very kind of focused kind of praise. like the tasmiyah or the thana in the beginning, al-istiftah, yani it's focused. So what do you think then? What do you think? How yani, you know, these statements are important because they need to be summarized nicely. I want to do the whole lot. I want to write it down right now. So I don't think one word is going to work. I don't mind that. I don't mind if it's few words, but it's got to flow. All right, let's leave that for a minute. At-tahiyyatu lillah was-salawat. What did we say? Prayers. No, we didn't say prayers.
Hamad was all greatness, prayers, and goodness belong to Allah.
So all greatness,
Prayers,
prayers, yeah,
and
goodness
belongs to Allah.
belongs to Allah. Okay. So I'm happy to go with prayers and goodness. I want thingy changed. Would you guys, any out of English, would you say all greatness to Allah, all prayers to Allah, all? But there is an emphasis there. You know, I'll tell you something, right? You're saying no, but there are narrations in which lillah is taken out from some of them. So like, you know, at-tahiyyatu lillah was-salawatu wat-tayyibat, right? Then there is at-tayyibat, at-tahiyyatu at-tayyibat lillah. And there is at-tahiyyatu az-zakiyatu at-tahiyyatu az-zakiyatu at-tayyibatu lillah was-salawatu lillah. Like this. So the lillah is sometimes repeated and sometimes taken out. So I think we should be accurate in each version we translate with how many times we mention Allah's name. You know what I'm saying? Unless you say that the number of times lillah occurs in the sentence is irrelevant. Now in Arabic, that's very difficult to say that, because we understand that in the Arabic language, a repetition is a sense of emphasis.
When you said tahiyyatu lillah salawatu wa tayyibat, is the lam meaning the same thing for all three?
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
so
No doubt about that.
He owns
Yes.
the prayers, or the prayers go to him.
Go to him.
Right, but then you said tahiyyatu lillah, so
That's the first version, yeah?
Okay, yeah, this base first version.
Yeah.
You're saying the lam here
Yeah.
isn't of possession.
It is ownership, yes.
So his are the prayers, or the prayers go to him.
I see what you're saying.
So the lam here has several different functions anyway. You can't translate that in other languages. Or unless you say like gods are, or it just becomes messy in another language.
Yeah.
The lam in Arabic has
Yeah.
different
Yeah.
meaning.
Yeah. So as we mentioned last week, the lam is for ahad and for al-istihqaq as well. So that means that it is for him because he's the only one who deserves it, right? So we mentioned, so it's fine to cover the generality of the three words. But the fact is that to mention Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's name, the pronoun here, again and again, is a definite sense of emphasis because yufid al-khasar, yani, as they say. It restricts it each time. Right? It's one of those artistic kind of things. Anyway, for now, let's just at least, I'll think about that, but let's replace greatness.
Why are we saying greatness?
Why are we saying greatness? That was just one of the options last week. All greatness, prayers, goodness belongs to Allah. If we can take out greatness and replace it with something, then we can move on.
Glory?
Glory is the same, isn't it? It's not got anything to do with the long live and hail the king, and it's not got nothing to do with, the endlessness and the continuity and the remaining. So what word is going to capture that side?
Majesty.
Majesty, no, it's the same as greatness. Huh?
Goodness was coming in the salawat, but not the at-tahiyyat.
Yeah, prayers is for salawat, goodness is for tayyibat, greatness is what we're stuck on, which is at-tahiyyat. So all eternity and dominion belongs to Allah. All eternity and dominion. Huh?
Well, it's two words for one word.
Yeah.
No choice, though, is there?
No choice.
When you say tahiyyat, you don't hear the meaning. It's just used in the context of talking to a king.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean the meaning at all. It means
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's no doubt we're translating it by consequence. Its conclusion, its intended meaning as opposed to its literal meaning. Of course. Yeah. We need to solve this, otherwise we can't get notes out. I don't want to keep going back to it.
the thing is this is a condition of the prayer.
Yes.
So it's like the first thing you teach a child or a convert. It's a very difficult thing to teach actually. Partly because you can't translate
The statement or the meaning?
the whole tahiyatullah.
Yeah, the statement or the meaning?
All of it. Both.
Statement is not particularly.
You tell an English guy
You tell an English one, yani even you can't even say Allah. Forget about yani.
No, but they can have a shot. Alhamdulillah. They have no shot at tahiyatullah. It's very difficult.
Yeah, but that's yani only because it's multiple syllables, isn't it? Anything which is multiple syllables. Or you tell him to say yani Alexander Cortez Vasquez yani you'll attack.
I'm kind of saying it's a shame we don't think about it more often. Because it's very
No, definitely. Tashahhud is the forgotten.
Just pick up other people's translations and criticize them.
They're all lame. They're so lame. They're all along the how like praise.
Greetings of humility.
Greetings of humility. See, they've gone the other way. They've gone like hello. They've gone the hello route. Or your
Does no one say that's what it means?
yeah, they've taken it from the literal Arabic of yani when you give a tahiyyah, when you say salam. They've literally gone down that way. We discussed that last week, remember? Greeting. Alright, I'll work it out. We're stuck here. Alright, that's fine. Alright, let's move on then what Shaykh Uthaymeen says. So he mentioned we're at the part of Abuduhu. No, we're not. We are on Ayyuhan Nabi, right? And I want to make sure that we understood what we closed on. That Assalamu alayka Ayyuhan Nabi was what the Prophet ﷺ taught, and yet there were some companions, few only, that after the death of the Prophet ﷺ, they changed it to Ayyuhan Nabi. Okay? They wanted to put it on the Prophet. Okay? Sorry, Assalamu ala Nabi, beg your pardon. Assalamu ala Nabi wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, which translates literally as peace be on the Prophet. Okay? Peace be on the Prophet. Whereas yani everybody else, like we say, Assalamu alayka, peace be upon you, O Prophet. Yeah? And it's just important for everybody to cement this fact in your mind that the reason that we are sticking with the vast majority position, Abdullah bin Mas'ud is allowed to have ijtihad, he's made ijtihad. But what we would say is, as I mentioned last week, Umar bin Khattab, he taught it in front of all of the companions and not a single one objected. Abdullah bin Mas'ud had his own opinion, that's fine. The Prophet ﷺ knew that he was going to die. He knew that if there's anything that needs editing, then he would tell them. It's not allowed for him to keep the information to himself if that's the way it's going to be said. The Prophet ﷺ was praised and was mentioned in the tashahhud throughout his lifetime by people who were with him and not with him. There were companions that he sent away that were not in his sight or even country, and they didn't change the direct verb, which indicates that it is possible to speak to the Prophet ﷺ in this kind of direct fashion. Is that clear? And so we will stick to that. And we'll come to discuss some of the variations of this tashahhud a little bit later. The thing that Uthman wanted me to discuss, which I don't know whether if there's appetite for, is then what about the Brelvis and their whole kind of thing with the Prophet ﷺ, and So what I want to say is that in my mind, I've never ever been so obsessed actually with what the Brelvis do. I mean, and some of the Sufis do, which is this whole addressing of the Prophet ﷺ directly. Not been so bothered about that. Yeah. Saying, you'll see, they'll do their mehfil zikr and they'll say, As-salatu was-salamu alayka ya Rasulullah. This kind of, as if he's really there in the present. But when you actually question them, they admit themselves that we know that he's not here. I mean, there's different levels and there's different groups amongst them, but some of them will say that we know that he's not here, but we want to say it. And so others will say, yes, we believe that he's right here, he's hazir. right? That he knows everything, that he's everywhere, that he's like, and that's obviously a problem. What I want to say is that in my personal opinion, I do not share the same kind of nafrat and anger and refutation and whatever to the Barelvis for just having ya all over the place. It shouldn't be used, okay, because of what it leads to. But I'm saying that's not the bigger problem. The bigger problem is the consequence of what happens if you do believe in the ya, to the level where you think the Prophet ﷺ is present, that you think that he should be equated with Allah, that you think that when you put the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon the wall, then the name of the Prophet ﷺ should be besides it. If you're going to call upon Allah as Ya Allah, then we should call upon the Messenger as well, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, with Ya Muhammad or Ya Rasulullah. That's a problem. Sending salams upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam with a Ya, I'm not so fussed about that. I don't think that's a small issue which has been enlarged. The much bigger issue is the Ya Rasulullah on a power of Allah, and in terms of that's who we're calling upon. That's a major problem, major bid'ah, majorly haram, and of course what it leads to could be even worse. And some people do some silly and crazy things, and obviously we'll get to that. And obviously Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, you know that he has a track record. He's very strict on the Sunnah. And he used to go around and make sure that people would not do bid'ah as much as he possibly could. Very strict upon people. He is the famous companion in the famous hadith when he saw the people using stones to make dhikr, and they were counting and they were copying after one of like a group leader. And so there was basically a group dhikr session, and he was incredibly angry. He went into that gathering and he said, he goes that the clothes of the Prophet ﷺ are still with us. His body's still warm, and you've started doing all this stuff that has got no basis. So whenever he could get in, then he would make it very clear. And it's clear that he's made that judgment call, that he doesn't want to risk people getting into the whole, he's present kind of thing, right? And we discussed this on the weekend in the Tafsir Surah Al Imran, the concept of tawassul. And the tawassul problem really kind of, falls into this. Tawassul is effectively seeking the means to go via someone to Allah. So the idea that, I'm not good enough, or I am good enough, but I need a bit of extra help, so I'm going to go through. So by the power of, or by the virtue of, this is called tawassul, using someone to get to something else. And the something else is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to respond to your dua. And normally the people, the masses, when they make this mistake, they make tawassul by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They say that he's the Prophet, he's perfect, he's got the best dua, so we ask you by the Prophet ﷺ, by the virtue of the Prophet ﷺ. This is a problem. It causes all kinds of issues. It's a bid'ah, there's no doubt about it. And of course it goes against the action of the Prophet ﷺ himself, the companions of the Prophet ﷺ himself. They had needs and du'as to make, but you don't see any single one of them asking the Prophet ﷺ. In actual fact, you see them asking, for example, the famous hadith is them asking the uncle of the Prophet ﷺ. So Abbas was there, and they asked him to make dua for the rain when they were suffering a drought. So it's allowed to ask others, or to seek the means via people who are alive, who are good, who are righteous, pious people, to ask them to make dua, or to ask by them because you believe they're the family of the Prophet ﷺ, etc. But the key is that they're alive, and they ask, and that's it. But when you start attributing the ability to listen and to pass on your dua to those who have passed away, that's not possible. And every time you see tawassul in the sunnah, you see it, as I mentioned before, making tawassul through your own deeds, making tawassul by the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, making dua by making tawassul by the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and so on and so forth. So it's an important point to just to clarify. All right, so when we say ayyuhan nabi, all right, so we've done all the rest, okay? Ayyuhan nabi, it actually means ya ayyuhan nabi, O Prophet. Ayyuha is the same, okay? The asl is ya ayyuhan nabi. So what happens is that it's like oh the Prophet. Ya is also a calling word. What's a calling word in English? Huh? A what? No, what's it called in English? Calling, when you call someone. What's that called? A particle?
Well, it's a type of particle. It's like harf nida is like a vocative particle or something. I can't remember. You never use it, right? It's just oh.
Yeah. No. I mean, what do you call oh, hey, oi? What do you call that? What are these phrases called? There is a name. You're right. It's some type.
An interjection is different to a vocative particle. If I say, "Oh you," or "Hey you," or whatever, it's different to "Oi." "Oi" is something else.
Yeah.
We don't have these in English.
Hmm. So anyway, my point is, but you get my point, yeah? Harf al-nida is what you call it in Arabic, the phrase which is used to call someone. And we have ya, and we have ayyatu, and we have ayyuha, etc., etc. It means oh, hey, not like hey, but like hey, oh. So it's called harf al-nida. I'm sure someone will tell us. Vocative, okay? Sumira said it's the vocative participle, I'm guessing. Okay, so the interesting thing with Ya Ayyuhan Nabi is that it's two vocative principles, Ya and Ayyu. Okay, so because we're saying it so much, the Arabs, they would play this little kind of card where they would kind of delete one, keeping its meaning in principle, but delete it for ease of use. So Ya Ayyuhan Nabi has now been removed, the Ya and Ayyuhan Nabi, but it actually means Ya Ayyuhan Nabi. Okay, but it's not. In speech, it's not always removed, but just because it's used so much, it's been removed. Okay, so that's that. And Nabi, what is that? And Nabi, yeah. You can have that two ways, with a ya at the end, like I just said, or with the hamza. If you do it with the hamza, it becomes an nabi'u. Okay, an nabi'u. That's actually the original word for some people. Because there's a question in Arabic language, where does Nabi come from? Yani, what is the asl of the word Nabi? So there's an opinion that there was not a ya in there in the first place. Na ba ya. It's actually na ba hamza. Okay? And we know in Arabic another thing that happens is that hamza is a hard letter. It's like the worst letter. Yeah, it's always a headache letter because you're flowing and suddenly you have to stop to bring it in. Okay? And because of that, that's why you have the concept of the Hamzatul Wasl is so important in the Arabic language when you study Arabic, that the Hamza can be taken away and you can flow. Or it can be removed to ease pronunciation. So the Hamza and its importance to get rid of in Arabic language is very important. So if the asl of the word Nabi is from Naba'a with the Hamza removed, then Nabi means the one who brings news and is the receiver of news, from Naba, from Khabar. Does that make sense? Yeah? So he is Al-Manba and he is Al-Munbi'. He is the one who receives news from Allah, from the Messenger, from Jibreel alayhi salam, and he's Al-Munbi'. He's the one who informs. And we know that's the case. So maybe the word Nabi is from Naba'a. Okay? And the other opinion, Shaykh Uthaymeen mentions at the top of page 152, he goes, An-Nabiyyu bi tashdid al-ya bila hamza. Okay? So that's the original one that we say, An-Nabiyyu, okay, which is the vast majority. And here, it's either because there is no hamza at all, or it's the hamza has been removed from the original word because of saying it. And then this is therefore min nabwa. This is now from a complete different word, nabwa. And nabwa is something which is respected, high, superior. Okay? And nabwa is like an upper class or upper quality. Top and Sheikh says وهي الارتفاع raised, that which is raised. And وسمي بذلك لارتفاع رتبته, he has been named that such because of his high status. Now, I mentioned this in this class before, and I mentioned this on the weekend as well, that we have a principle in usul, that if there is a word that has two meanings, two different meanings, but the two meanings do not contradict one another, then both get played at the same time, and it enriches the meaning of the word. And so there's no problem for us saying that the word prophet means superior, best raised status, high, and the one who gives news and receives news. And that's a beautiful combination, and that is what a Nabi means. Okay? So we'll go with that. So, أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته. Okay? So we've done all this so far. Assalamu alayka. Yeah. we've said what peace is. Yani we said what peace in the akhirah is. Wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The rahmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is a word which we need to know, as many Arabic words. When you use it in isolation, it has one meaning. When you use it as something else, it has it has different meaning. If you use it in this scenario here, is it on its own or is it with something else? Something else? Which is? No, what is just the joining word? Something yeah, but it's not the barakat, which is the similar word. Salam is a similar word. Assalamu alayka ayyuhan nabiyyu wa rahmatullahi. Wa rahma is linked to assalamu alayka wa rahmatullah. Ayyuhan nabi is like an insertion, right? So if that was not there, it's assalamu alaykum wa assalamu alayka wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Yeah? But just because we put a pause to mention the Prophet ﷺ again, assalamu alayka ayyuhan nabiyyu wa assalamu alayka ayyuhan nabiyyu wa rahmatullah. So the rahmah is paired up with salam. And the rule goes like this. If a rahmah is used by itself, then it means forgiveness from Allah, tawbah from Allah, it means peace from Allah, safety from Allah, it means also favor from Allah, blessing from Allah, like the full shabam. The full shabam. You get what I'm trying to say? That's the mercy of Allah. Bestow your mercy upon me. Rahmaka ya Rabb. When we say Rahmaka ya Rabb, it means forgive us ya Allah and bless us with your mercy. It's the main combination. So here, it's been paired up with salam, and normally the rahmah is paired with salam or maghfirah. So peace or forgiveness. So whenever it's paired up, okay, then it gets a specific meaning. If it's not paired up, it means everything. When it's got a specific meaning, we can't now cover the forgiveness part or the peace part because we've got a word specifically for that. That's salam, or huwa al-ghafur rahim. Alright? So he's the forgiving and the merciful. So the forgiveness part is now being taken up by maghfirah or ghafur. So now rahmah means that which we want extra from Allah to get what we want. Shaykh Uthaymeen puts it in a nice combined form. He says that when we use it with maghfirah and rahmah, then it's ما يحصل به المطلوب ما يحصل به المطلوب والمغفرة والسلام ما يزول به المرهوب. That's great. Okay? Translated literally, salam and maghfirah will be getting rid of that which is going to cause a problem, which is scaring us, which is causing an issue here, getting rid of that. And rahmah is ma yahsul bihi al matlub. And mercy is do anything and give us anything and do whatever it needs to be done and bless us with anything that matters for us to achieve what we need to get the objective. Okay? And so basically what you're having is, as Shaykh Uthaymeen says, that one is takhliya and the other one is tahliya. Takhliya and tahliya. Takhliya is to repair post deficiencies. That's to fix. Takhliya means to fix, and a tahliya is when you perfect and beautify. Tahliya, Shaykh Uthaymeen says the awsaf al-kamila, the perfect attributes to make it even more better. Simply as someone asks the Shaykh, why is salam mentioned before rahmah? Because you clean first before you iron, right? You have a bath first before you apply perfume. Yes? You don't just put perfume on to a smelly body. That's a waste of time and your internal self is not good here. So takhliya means to get rid of what's holding you back, which is your sin. So that's the maghfirah. That's why we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive us. And then mercy is then asking, and we know that we did a sin, so we deserve nothing. So we've got two problems. Yeah? If you sin, you've got two problems. You've got one, you've got sin on your shoulders. You've got a burden of sin. Two, because you've sinned, Allah is not going to give you anything else. Yes, you've already got to deal with your sin, so He's already angry with that. Let alone, not ask Him for a favor, which was to be blessed with Jannah or safety, and we still got sin. So we have a two-stage process. The salama, the maghfirah, is Ya Allah, remove this sin. Afiyah, get rid of it completely. Takfir, the kafara, is to remove it completely. If it's small enough, simple one, get rid of it, conceal it, don't even see it again. The maghfirah is to cover it up. We said the ghafara to cover. The maghfirah is the helmet. Yeah, so you're protected from that sin. It will never affect you. It's covered completely. So that part is fixed. But now we're back to zero. So we were minus. Now we're back to zero. And zero is not going to cut it. You don't get into Jannah on zero. So now we need a favor from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we ask Him to give us that which we don't deserve. That's what mercy is. Mercy is receiving that which you don't deserve. And so then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us His mercy, and that's the tahliyah. That's the extra that basically gets us up. So this is the tarkeeb, this is the form that always maghfirah and salam, and it goes into in these these are the way these two are always seen. So the most important thing is that when a word is used in this by itself, it means everything. But when a word is used in combination, then it has a specific meaning. I also wanted to mention, and I don't know if I do mention this enough, a lot of people sometimes don't know this, that tawbah and istighfar mean the same thing. Okay, they're very interchangeable. Okay, using the same rule. But if tawbah and istighfar are mentioned in the same sentence, then tawbah will almost take the previous kind of aspect, and istighfar will kind of take the protective future element, according to some scholars. That's if you use them in the same sentence. All right, that makes sense. Okay, let's catch up with some questions. Lala, bring this down. Hamza said, is not tawassul calling upon Allah, mentioning a good deed you did, like the men? Yeah. So like I said, that tawassul is something which is allowed. That tawassul is something which is good and allowed. That is calling upon Allah, mentioning a good deed. I said that's one of the versions. Lutz is giving us some words. Eminence. Yeah. And sovereignty and perpetuity. What do you think about perpetuity, folks?
It's not praise.
It's not praise, huh? Perpetuity. It is the meaning of baqa. Yeah. It is the meaning of baqa. Well done, yeah. But yeah, okay. What's that? Up to what Solange is saying. Do we say ka because this is conveyed to the Prophet ﷺ by the angels? Like when one writes a letter to someone absent, one writes you to them in the second person, and it is conveyed via the paper and the post. That depends if you're making a statement or you're making a dua. If it's a dua, then it is conveyed to the Prophet ﷺ. We have the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ that says that send salam upon me wherever you are, because the angels will give it to me, and make tabligh of that. I'll receive it from them. So that is, but the ka is not necessarily because of that. But if you do address the Prophet ﷺ, when you say, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when you say sallallahu alaihi wasallam, oh Allahumma salli ala Muhammad, there's no ka, and it's still conveyed. So it's not the ka which is the conveying aspect. The salam is conveyed whether you say ka or not. Assalamu alayka, and you shouldn't necessarily say that in normal speech unless it's part of some kind of poem, or you're making a dua, for example. You're so impressed, you read something from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Sallamakallah, ya Rasulullah, Jazakallah kulla khair anil ummah. You speak to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in a way where you are almost addressing him, but you know that he can't hear you. You're addressing him out of love and out of reverence. Right. Nadir, where will we hold LP? Nadir is going to be, insha'Allah, in the Movenpick Hotel. So it will be on Monday, maybe Tuesday, I think. I can't remember. I think Monday. I think it'll be Monday is when we'll do it live in Movenpick after Isha. So just be in the lobby around there. All right. What was happening there, man? There's some next level questions. Forget that. Right. Okay, we'll come back. About sending salam, we'll do that. You mentioned the cause of revelation of the shahud. Haris, man. That's a good question, and I completely forgot to bring the hadith. Let me make that. I'll mention that next week, inshallah.
You said this first tashahhud is not a dua.
It's not a dua per se.
From Assalamu alaikum onwards.
It is. That part is a dua, but yani the majority isn't. Ashhadu an la ilaha is a statement of fact, a declaration. At-tahiyyat yani is a praise. Any kind of praise, the first part. So it's only a small part which is actually a dua. Whereas the second tashahhud is full on. Alright, wa barakatuh, which is the jama' of barakah. And what is barakah? Barakah is a lot of good. A lot. Yep. And when we mention the word barakah, we're talking about a large amount. The actual root verb or the root word of barakah is the birka. The birka, al-birka. And al-birka is where water gathers. And because it's sloped, because of the nature of where it gathers is low and sloped, in a small amount of time with a small amount of rainfall or whatever action, a large amount of water will gather. So it doesn't drain very well, whatever. And that phrase can be used and applied to anything which is even made intentionally. The point is that very quickly, it's a lot. Okay? So barakah is asking for a lot. Okay then. And so, as Shaykh says, وَالْبَرَكَةِ هِيَ النَّمَاء وَالزِّيَادَةِ فِي كُلِّ شَيْءٍ مِنَ الْخَيْرِ. So that which grows in good and that which increases in good, and is a lot of a lot, huge, big. Alright, so what are we asking for a lot with the Prophet ﷺ then? What are we asking for a lot? A lot of what? For the Prophet ﷺ who's passed away. I mean, if he's alive, then we ask for barakah for him in his food, so that he has a lot, in his safety, in his salah, in everything, right? So then, what's the barakah for the Prophet ﷺ?
Station. Status.
More, higher.
But I don't think it's.
I don't think so. Barakah is a lot. You don't get a lot. No, not high. It's not high. It's a lot. Increase, maybe. Yeah, go on. Maqam Mahmud? No. Shaykh Uthaymeen says that the barakah of the Prophet ﷺ after his death is the kathratu atba'i wa ma yutba'u fi. We're asking for barakah in his followers and in what they do. So for example, if he's going to have 100 million followers, then when we say wa barakatuh, assalamu alayka wa rahmatullahi, assalamu alayka ayyuhan nabi wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So Ya Allah, send safety and salam upon the Prophet ﷺ, and your mercy upon him sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and barakah upon him, i.e. upon his ummah. So they become 500 million. So that 100 million becomes 500 million. And what they do is blessed as well. So if they do set off with that intention to follow the Prophet ﷺ, then they are blessed in everything that they do. So just like the mornings are blessed, because the Prophet ﷺ indicated that the blessed mornings are blessed. Or for example, people are going to pray and do 2 rak'ah, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts the barakah in it and they do 10, or the reward of 10 is achieved, etc., etc. So, and Shaykh then, so that's the correct position. Shaykh also mentions that if you think about it, this is also a response to some of those people. Although I don't know who these are, but I think Dr. Saab will tell us about these people. Those that want to send gifts to the Prophet ﷺ, or they do qurb to the Prophet ﷺ, they recite for the Prophet ﷺ. The brothers must do that. Send Fatiha to the Prophet ﷺ. Make sacrifices for the Prophet ﷺ. Yes. Yeah? So this sacrifices is a packed thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes.
And Fatiha not so much. Arabs do that?
What, sorry?
To send Fatiha, recite Fatiha for the Prophet ﷺ.
Only for dead people.
Only for dead?
And like saints. And
Yeah, well there you go.
not the Prophet himself.
That's the
I don't
point.
know. Maybe they do it when they go to Medina. I don't know.
Yeah, no, they do. I've seen in Egypt that they do.
But from
But-
a distance. Not like,
No, as in, in their
the gathering.
in gatherings, yeah. So what Shaykh Uthaymeen basically says, he goes, this is the difference between the people who follow the Sunnah and who just do bid'ah. Okay, that if you want to send reward, that's what you're doing, right? When you send Fatiha, the whole point, by the way, if you want to understand why is it that you see people recite Fatiha or sacrifice an animal, is because to sacrifice an animal for the sake of Allah is a rewarded action, and especially if you give the meat away, and if you eat from it, that's allowed. But the principle, of course, is that you sacrifice and you feed the poor, or you give charity, you know, or you do things which are good. Now, obviously, what's happened in not recent times, but over our history, that acts of worship has become this big thing to bestow upon other people. There's a similar concept here that we're just about touching on, but I don't want to get into. It's called Isal al-Thawab. Isal al-Thawab, the transferring of reward. There is idea that we want to try and benefit other people by doing good deeds. Okay? Qurban. Qurb, okay, means to be close. Qurban, Qurbani, when you slaughter the Qurbani, it's an act of closeness to Allah, a worship to Allah. Qurbani. When you sacrifice anything, yeah, you know, ya Qurban. That's what my mom used to say all the time. When she used to say, when I say, can you do that? She goes, Qurban. Ready to sacrifice myself anytime. Sick like that. So I think that's how Pax use it, right? Yeah. So
It's only this isn't an Arabic word really.
Qurban. Yeah, no, it's not used like that at all. Yeah.
It doesn't even exist really. It exists as a loan word, maybe.
Al-Qurb doesn't exist.
Qurba exists.
Yeah. Oh, Qurban. Yeah. Qurban is a Pak word. Yeah. Qurbani was the first video I ever owned, by the way. Let's get real for a second. You know what I mean? Lala, I see a little sneaky little face, smile on your face. Shole. This was before Shole. Qurbani, and it had, what was his name? Mittun Chakarbatti. Was Mittun Chakarbatti the main thing? No, there was another guy in there as well. Or was it just Mittun? He's got to Google it. It was a legendary film. Goodness me, it was back in the day. 70s or 60s? Huh? Made in 60s or 70s? Made in 70s. It was my dad's VHS. It was the first one that he had. Original tape as well. Qassam, I'm not even joking. I can see it right now. Alani Qassam, I can see it right now. And the reason I'm saying that it's original is that it wasn't just a sticker on the VHS typewritten, but it was a coloured one. You know, like the coloured ones on the labels, but proper font Qurbani. Sick film. Come on, put me out my misery. Huh?
IMDb's coming up, man. Who do you want to know?
No, just post what year.
Vinod Khanna.
Who?
Vinod Khanna.
Vinod Khanna.
Amjad Khan was in it.
Amjad Khan was in it. That's exactly it.
Feroz Khan.
Feroz Khan was in it as well.
Yeah.
Forget the rating. What year? That's what I want to know.
Oh, 1980.
1980. Lala, you're older than I thought. Feroz Khan. 1980 Indian Hindi action drama thriller film. Look at that. We don't mess about. We do action drama thriller all in one. You know what I mean? We don't mess about with that single genre bakwas. We are triple genre. Yes, bro. Right. Anyway. So, this act of Qurban, sacrificing for the Prophet ﷺ, making whatever, whatnot, it's actually all nonsense. And the reason it's nonsense is because you see, this is the classic kind of, good intention. This is the whole concept of bid'ah. By the way, I want you to make it, I want you guys to know, especially those who are watching in London or anywhere near London, make sure you go to Sheikh Wali's class next weekend in London, which is the only time that he will teach bid'ah over weekend. Okay? This weekend he's in Birmingham teaching fiqh of dua and dhikr. Okay? Even though he told me torchbearers, but I'm still, But it's the fiqh of dua and dhikr in Birmingham this weekend, this Friday. And then the weekend after, he's going to be teaching bid'ah. And bid'ah is such a difficult, emotive, sensitive subject because people just don't understand why are you blaming me for doing something good. So all these people are going to sacrifice an extra animal, going to read an extra Fatiha and ask Allah to send the reward of that, etc., etc., etc. And it's a great idea. It makes complete sense. It's not made easier by the fact that a number of the classical scholars throughout history, and I am sympathetic to this idea in theory, do believe in some aspects. So the famous one is the recitation of the Quran. The whole concept of the Quran khatam comes from this same principle. that we recite the Quran for the deceased and we hope that it carries on. And the basic principle comes from the hadith of Sadaqah Jariyah. That's where the idea comes from. So when a person dies, إذا مات ابن آدم انقطع عنه عمله إلا من ثلاث. So when the son of Adam passes away, then his actions will be stopped, except for three things: knowledge that benefited him, child that prays for him, and Sadaqah Jariyah. And the idea is that if other people put in his or her name a good thing, then the reward will get to them. So at what point do you cut it off? It's a huge discussion, really difficult one, to be honest. Okay, like you got Abu Hanifa on one side and Shafi on the other. You got like Ibn Taymiyyah on one side and you got whoever on the other. So at what point do you cut it off? At what point do you decide that you got little few hadith that people use to make it become huge, like the hadith of doing Hajj on behalf of the one who has passed, right? So there's a direct text there. The problem is that Hajj is an obligation, right? And if you didn't do the Hajj as an obligation, then someone's got to pay the debt for you. So that can't be used. You can't use an obligatory debt, me paying someone's debt, as an evidence for voluntary debt. However, that's exactly what they did. They said that if a person, for example, didn't have to do Hajj, let's say that your mother, very old, very weak, very poor, disabled, etc., she can't do Hajj. And she will spend her whole life not doing Hajj and she'll pass away, and Hajj was never an obligation upon her. But you'll see her children will do Hajj for her. I don't know of any scholar that prohibits that. Okay? I don't know of any scholar that prohibits you doing that Hajj for her, even though it wasn't obligatory in the first place. That's where it gets messy. Now, if you let that go, then that basically means you've done a Nafal Hajj for her. If you allow the Nafal Hajj, well, you've opened the door. You basically said, then we can now do acts of worship and then ask Allah to transfer the reward. That is why people go to Umrah, as much as I hate it, and they do Umrahs for other people. We allow that in a really, really kind of, restricted way, and we only do that because some scholars have said. But there's no evidence from the Prophet ﷺ that they either did it, let alone pass it on to someone else. And you can see the problem, because then it starts to become everything. So the amount of people who believe you can make tawaf for other people is crazy. Right? The amount of people, I get asked all the time. I've got the group going soon, the questions are obviously coming in. It's a very common belief that, can I go make tawaf, And you'll see a lot of people in Saudi who work there, from the packs. They're making tawaf for their family members all the time, every week. Umrah, obviously, big mission, isn't it? More difficult, so they don't do that. That's where it distills down to Quran, to Fatiha, to whatever. Now, you see where it gets messy? If I said to you, donate £500 for him, you'd do that, and that's fully legit. So the problem is you've got some obvious legit ones, and you've got this big grey area in the middle, right? And in the grey area, you can get some kind of silly behavior where people then start to then do an act and then say, I'm going to pass this to the Prophet ﷺ. Now that's a whole next leveling it up, because we're still struggling with just your father and your mother who's passed away, which makes sense. If you see the scholars, they either stamp it out completely, or they allow one degree of separation, meaning that it's got to be your direct family because you've got an interest and you shouldn't be doing it for other people. That's why, for example, when people come to me and ask about, can I go to the Quran Khatam or should I do a Quran Khatam? I said, that's not the Sunnah. But if you want yourself, then Ibn Taymiyyah allowed it. Ibn Taymiyyah said that it's allowed for a person to read Quran for his mother or his deceased family member and ask them, Yusul al-Thawab, Isal al-Thawab. Yeah, transfer the Thawab. But that's part of
the Walid al-Salih.
Well, not really, because the hadith says al-waladun salih yad'u lahu, making dua. Reciting Quran is an act of ibadah, not making dua. It is qurban. It is like the sadaqah. It is like the ilmun yuntafa'u bihi. So for example, if you taught me, you pass, and I got something from you and I decide to make it into a video or a thing, that and I put money into it, and I ask other people to put money into it, they'll get the money reward for an investment of sadaqah jari or whatever. But ultimately, you'll get the reward, and that's why I'm doing it for. If I send a million of these and people like it and benefit, ultimately, I'm doing that so that the reward goes to you. So you got these, pillar posts which aren't so very clear. Like I said, people will allow it for direct family. Where they will start closing the door is when you're doing it for someone that you don't know or you're not related to. And that's where you got the bid'ah. Now, it becomes easy to clamp down on these because they do it in a very specific way. Once people start doing things in a specific way, they've made that fatal mistake, and then we can close it down. So when they say on the day that a person passes, we're going to gather in my house and we're going to read 30 paras and no one's going to know anything, and you just read it in this robotic way, this is bid'ah. It stinks. It's complete bid'ah. It's like an idea that if we don't do this in this way, in this manner, then we haven't given the haqq to the dead. That's not a natural kind of act of qurban. So you can see the scholars will find that easier to kind of condemn. And the umrah is not so far off that, because they're saying Hajj at best, and that was obligatory. All right, we let Nafal go. All right, where's the Umrah coming from? On what basis is the Umrah coming from? Aisha radiallahu anha did another Umrah. Okay, that's for herself, right? Not for someone else. It becomes difficult. And there's some hadith which indicate that it might be possible to pass on the reward from an Umrah. We get that. I'm not even that buzzed about the concept of doing Umrah myself twice in an immediate visit. If I go out and come back, of the miqat and travel to Medina or travel to Jeddah and come back, I get that. But people who go to Umrah and do it, again, there's no basis for that. But again, some scholars allowed it reluctantly. But where does it keep? How far do you go? The tawaf, nobody allows. There's no scholar in the Sunnah that allows the tawaf to be made. But then you got to ask that question: why not? If you allow a person to make a tawaf, make an Umrah, then why not make a tawaf? And the answer is because tawaf is not a complete set of worship. It's not a complete act of worship, because tawaf by definition is sabatu ashwat, 7 circumambulations with 2 rak'ah, and tawaf is just one part. Okay? Then we'll say, we'll do a full 7 then with 2 rak'ah. Because everyone's buzzing over that. It's sa'i no one wants to do. Right? it's sa'i that no one wants to do, and it's the ihram no one wants to wear. It's just a case of, it's, just to do 7 and 2 rak'ah, piece of cake, we do that, right? That's about 30 minutes here, I need it on the ground floor. So it becomes messy. So what Shaykh Uthaymeen makes the point, and I just want to clarify to show you that sometimes, you know what it is? A lot of people can get caught up in, but Shaykh so-and-so, Imam Ahmed is the one who caused us the problem here. He's the only one who has allowed this Umrah to be done repeatedly, right? You can see that and he says, it's not a major problem, right? It's not a big issue. And so people then, they jump onto that, right? The way to avoid this is to just live Islam according to principles. And that's what Shaykh Uthaymeen is saying. He goes that, are you better than Abu Bakr and Umar and Uthman and Ali and Abu Sa'id al-Khudri and Anas and Abdullah bin Umar, are you better than them? And if you say yes, then you've lied. And if you say no, then you should admit then that they know how to worship Allah and they love the Prophet ﷺ more than you do. Do you love them? I'm paraphrasing his 2 pages. Do you love the Prophet ﷺ more than Abu Bakr? If you say yes, you've lied. If you say no, then follow the one who loves the Prophet ﷺ. They never ever did any of these acts that we just mentioned above. But you know how they did send qurban to the Prophet ﷺ? By saying, Assalamu alayka ayyuhan nabiyyu wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is a dua for them, for the Prophet ﷺ. This is seeking mercy for him, and this is also transferring reward. Barakat is literally the transfer of reward. We're asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to increase the reward. That is how you do it according to the Sunnah. Same impact, same consequence basically. That's how you do it according to the Sunnah. And it makes complete sense. Literally makes complete sense. Alright, let's finish this off then. Let's wrap into the lesson. Behave yourself. Wrap into the lesson. Cheeky. Right. What is the best practice then when someone's parents pass away? Is there anything we can take from the Sahaba? Yes. Dua, and to set projects up in their name, waqf in their name. The concept of a trust is even helped by tax law, for crying out loud. In non-Muslim countries, they give you any tax breaks. So you set up a trust in their name where no one can benefit from that in a thingy way. And dua and spreading knowledge, this is so many acts. And sadaqah jariyah is not just buying a well, building a well. People have got to start getting out there building a well. There's so many different things, educational and all whatever's out there. You just need to have some imagination. Right. Let's quickly finish this, man. We're going to be here all day. Assalamu alayna, then, and peace be upon us. And that doesn't mean me. It means all of the people who... there's different opinions actually. Alright. Some said it means all the musallun, the people who pray. Some said the malaika. Some said all of the ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whether they pray or not. And Shaykh Uthaymeen says that's the correct position. That's the more correct position. It means all of the ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We make dua for them, for peace and security and safety, and for us as well, because all of us are his followers. وَعَلَىٰ عِبَادِ اللَّهِ الصَّالِحِينَ, and then on the righteous servants of Allah. This is important. This is a specific type, isn't it? But is this specifying the previous or generalizing it? Go on.
So this were slaves of Allah other than our nation, right? From previous nations, or like not human, we don't know about them.
Okay. Excellent.
Or it could be the good slaves amongst us.
Yep.
Because we're not all very good.
Yep. So that's not so excellent because that was the obvious one. But the other answer was excellent because everybody here was said specific. Because, we've done the whole ummah and now we've gone for the good ones. But the excellent answer is what Shaykh Uthaymeen said. He goes that this is ta'ameen ba'da takhsis. He goes that we already said the specific because it's the ummah.
You say like وَعَلَىٰ آلِهِ وَصَحْبِهِ, so you're moving out.
Yep.
You're moving out.
Yeah, normally, correct. In a list you normally move out. So this has been moved out. This is moved out from the ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to the good people from all history, all those who have passed away, because they're ibad. So that would be the Muslims of their time. That would include the Jews and Christians that worship Allah properly, and all those people upon Tawheed. It means the angels. It means all of the ibad as-salihin. Excellent. And what does it mean? They are those people or creatures or creation that humbled themselves to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They were abd. They were by definition they are abd. So they humbled themselves in obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they prevented themselves from any of the haram actions. So therefore, if you do not prevent yourself from haram and you do not humble yourself to obey him, you are not an abd. An abd, as you know, is the lowest of the low statements in society, but the highest according to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in this little tashahhud, we are going to praise ourselves by calling ourselves ibad, and we're going to certainly praise the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam by saying abuduhu wa rasuluh in a second. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, many times, فَأَوْحَى إِلَى عَبْدِهِ مَا أَوْحَى سُبْحَانَ الَّذِي أَسْرَى بِعَبْدِهِ لَيْلًا. There's so many. وَإِن كُنتُم فِي رَيْبٍ مِّمَّا نَزَّلْنَا عَلَى عَبْدِنَا فَأْتُوا بِسُورَةٍ مِّن مِثْلِهِ. There's so many ayat. تبارك الذي نزل الفرقان على عبده. الحمد لله الذي أنزل على عبده الكتاب. So many different verses of the Quran where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is referred to as al-abd. Is the highest possible position ever. To be described bil-ubudiyya, it doesn't get any better than that. Sheikh then also mentions a nice point. What does ibadullah salihin mean? What does it mean to be virtuous? What does it mean to be righteous slaves? Can you get any non-righteous slaves? Of course you can, right? Of course you can. So you have ibadullah salihin, or ibadullah salihun, if you don't know ibadullah salihin, or you have ibadullah al-fasidin. So what's the difference between the two? The ibadullah as-salihun, they are those that their insides, their secret, their inner and their outer is pure. Okay? They are the right ones. So they are, and this is good. They are, when they hear that which is to be they hear the command of Allah, they say sami'na wa ata'na. We have heard and we obey. If they hear his prohibition, they say sami'na wa tajannabna. We have heard and we will avoid it. We've avoided it. And if they hear any kind of narration from the Prophet ﷺ or any news about him, they say sami'na wa saddaqna wa qabilna. That we have heard it, we believe in it, and we've accepted it. So we believe in it, so we heard, we believe, Yani we make tasdeeq of it and we accept it. The ibadullah salihun, they are those people whose insides and outsides are on a line, and whereas the al-fasidun, they're the opposite, the corrupt slaves of Allah. Yani they are either, the corrupt ones are either corrupt on the inside or the outside. If they're corrupt on the inside, then they are who? They are the mushrikeen, the munafiqeen, the kuffar. Everything on the outside is great. They do actions, they do this, they do that, whatever they do. But inside, they don't believe, or they're corrupt, or they're liars. So that's disaster. And the other one, those who are on the outside rubbish, but inside okay, they are also fasidun, isn't it? We said to be a salihun, inside has to be good, outside has to be good. So if your inside is good, but your outside is rubbish, who are these people? They are the mubtadi'ah, the people of bid'ah. There are people who are inside, they believe, they have good intentions, but outside they just they make it up as they go along, or they choose their own little way, whatever, whatnot. But the main thing is that they want something which is good, right? They believe in it, but they're doing it wrong. So this is how people can go astray, and that's what Shaykh Uthaymeen wants to make it clear. And he goes, this is theory. He goes, do they exist though? Do they actually exist? Those people, of course they exist. And I like what Allah says. He says, every single human being, every single thing, everyone, kullu man, every single thing in the heavens and the earth, they are ibadullah via what's called al-ubudiyya al-kawniyya. Someone translate that. Whereas the Muslims are only ibadullah because we are ibadullah for ubudiyya al-shar'iyya. Now what does this mean? It's difficult to translate, but basically it means that kawniyya means that they are servants of Allah because they have to be, by necessity, because of the creation. Kawn means creation. They're created in that way. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, in kullu man fis samawati wal ard illa ati ar-rahmani abada, in Surah Maryam. And everything in the heavens and the earth will only come on that day in a state of as an abd, as a slave. Everyone is a slave. Allah's created all of them. He is their master. Whether they like it or not, believe it or not, understand it or not, accept it or not, they're the slaves. So that's what we call the ubudiyya kawniyya, al-kawniyya. By necessity, by the virtue that they are created, they are slaves. That's different from those who are believe in ubudiyya al-shar'iyya. Those are the ones who themselves submit. They intend to submit. Okay? We are those who do it in a legislated way, al-shar'iyya. We do it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We choose and we do it in a very specific way. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. We'll do the shahada and other things next week, inshallah. Right, bring it down, Lala. Right, let's start off with Mahjabeen and all her good fun. Alright, while standing in qiyam, does there have to be skin to skin touching when you do wada and qabd? No, it doesn't. Okay, you do not have to have skin touching. You can do glove on glove, you can do sleeve over sleeve, no problem. Can you confirm there are no transcribed notes from 20th of Feb onwards? Dear Mesa, I'm sure that you will respond and you will fix that up. And that they are no doubt done. And Mahjabeen has just lost her way there. So just hang around Mahjabeen and Mesa will respond and give you some links and stuff. Number 3, the email is wrong. It's LP note takers. LP, write it, Lala, afterwards. Okay, at gmail.com. Right, that's fine. What about sending salam through someone? That's bid'ah as well. Telling people, hey, send salam. Can you give my salam to the Prophet ﷺ? Complete bid'ah. And if someone is someone younger than you, then educate them. If it's you're older than you and it's going to cause fitna and parents, then just say, inshallah. Barakat. How is this for the ummah? Why not is it for the ummah? We want them to increase in their actions. We want to increase them in their actions. It's gone, it's definitely torn. 100%. 100%. 2 weeks, steroid injection is gone. I can feel it, it's gone. You got some packets, put nazar upon me, that's the problem. Shut up, man. Gus me. Right, next one. Up, up, up. Up, 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 up. What is the best practice than that? Does not the Prophet ﷺ get reward anyway from the deeds we do? Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. He does. He does. You couldn't possibly get more qurban, yani, and ajr and thawab. It's absurd. Well done, Hamza. Correct. When reciting dua qunut in the witr salah, while you raise your hands, do you look at your hands or the point of sajda? From Amelia. I thought that the question was a good one, Lutz. Sheikh Walid has his own opinion on this, okay, and he'll discuss that. It's permissible to look at the hands. You don't look at the sajda. It's permissible to look at the hands, and some scholars said that you can look up, but some scholars said that you should not look up. There are some hadith that prohibit that, and they overtake the dua part because you're not meant to look up in the prayer. I think the safest position is to look straight ahead, and which is towards the sajda, but your hands are in the way, so effectively it's covering both. That's my personal position. Sumaira says, Allah alam. Sumaira says, are we saying that the salam upon the Prophet ﷺ is takhliya for us, and asking for the rahmah of Allah upon him ﷺ is tahliya for us? Do we then correct? Okay, for us when we do it ourselves, but when you're doing it in the tashahhud, of course, is for the Prophet ﷺ. Okay, because listen, assalamu alayka ayyuhan nabiyyu wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So salam, safety, peace, any issues that are going to cause a problem, then protection from that, ya Allah, to the Prophet ﷺ. Wa rahmatullah, ya Allah, increase your mercy upon him, and increase your mercy and give him more than that he deserves, and just smash that side of it. Wa barakatuh, and just send so much blessings upon the ummah in their numbers, in their actions, and so on. So this is the dua for the Prophet ﷺ and then the ummah. And then wassalamu alayna wa ala ibadillahi salihin. It's only the peace that comes back to us, not the rest of it. Okay? Do we then infer that the barakah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon him ﷺ is a not a tajliya, but a takhliya for us too? Correct. Absolutely correct. As per the 3 stages of tazkiyah, not necessarily. No, not necessarily. And by the way, I just want you to know that yeah, exactly. These are phrases. Takhliya and tahliya is just someone's way of articulating the relationship. So 3 points, 2 points, it's all the same. Okay, Mahjabeen sorted that out. Lesson 8:15 p.m. next week, and then 8:30 the week after. All right, so just keep an eye on the old thingamajig, and that's about it, folks. Jazakumullah khair. Subhanakallahumma bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka Allahumma wa atubu ilayk. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.